Have you ever done something for the first time and thought you hit it out of the park, but it turned out you fell short? How did it feel? This happened to legendary animation director Hayao Miyazaki, and here's how he handled it. Before he directed gems like Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke, Miyazaki was struggling to get one stubborn project off the ground. He couldn't get this girl out of his head, and the quest to put her on film turned him into a legend. Let me tell you the story of Miyazaki and the tale of a girl who didn't follow the rules. In 1979, an animated film called Lupin III, The Castle of Cagliostro, hit the movie screens, directed by a 38-year-old man by the name of Hayao Miyazaki. After battling in the trenches of the animation industry for 16 years, this was his first shot at directing a feature film. He devoured his fingernails waiting for the box office numbers and was eyeing his toes for dessert when the results came in. It was a huge success, was what he wanted to hear, but it actually performed worse than expected. A punch to the gut, but you know what? When life gives you wasabi, make some sushi to go with it. Instead of sulking, he was itching to direct another movie, not from the Lupin III franchise, but a film made from his own imagination. He chased after two projects at around the same time. One was to make a period drama set in medieval Japan with a male protagonist. He was also really into Beauty and the Beast at the same time. It would be awesome, he thought, to make something blending the two. When the publishing company Tokuma Shoten knocked on his door for movie ideas, Miyazaki called his movie Sengoku Majo, which meant Warring States Demon Castle. But he explained that he didn't have a story yet, just some concepts swirling around in his head. They needed time to merge into a star. The publishing company was like, sure, we get it, nothing's ready, take your time, and later announced that they had plans for this great animated film called Sengoku Majo, probably making Miyazaki spit out his bathwater. To be fair, with a name like Warring States Demon Castle, who could resist? But later, Tokuma Shoten would admit, yeah, we probably counted our samurai before they were appointed. Sorry. The company never greenlit the movie. The second project sprang from the pages of an American comic book called Rolf by Richard Corbin. It was about a princess named Mariara and her were-dog trying to survive in a post-apocalyptic world of tanks and magic. Miyazaki read it and thought, this is some wild shit, and pitched the idea of a movie adaptation of Rolf to the animation studio Tokyo Movie Shincha. The studio was looking to make something for an American audience, and they were like, perfect, and enthusiastically failed to get the rights to Rolf, so nothing happened. After successfully failing to kick off two projects, Miyazaki still had this cauldron of fantasies in his head, but he had no clue how to mix them into a tasty, character-driven soup. The problem with his ideas was that no one from Alabama would be interested in them. They all seemed unrelated. But one image stuck in his head, the idea of a princess who had to juggle her own wants with the needs of her people. She was based on two ancient characters from totally different parts of the world. First was the character Nausicaä from the Odyssey. Miyazaki stumbled upon her in an encyclopedia of Greek mythology by Bernard Evslin. Miyazaki thought of calling his princess Yara, but was so impressed with Nausicaä that he renamed her Nausicaä instead. The encyclopedia painted Nausicaä in the Odyssey as a smart and brave girl with dreams bigger than Mount Olympus, a nature lover with a heart of gold, an independent thinker who cared not for the things other women desired, like fancy clothing. She saved Odysseus after he shipwrecked on her island, while other women ran away from the man. Excitement in his veins, Miyazaki later read her chapters in the actual Odyssey, and he was even more amazed. He was like, wow, it's amazing that she is nothing like what that encyclopedia said. For some reason, that encyclopedia hyped her up so much, but like a young summer fling, Nausicaä in the Odyssey only appeared for a brief moment and was quickly forgotten. Miyazaki was disappointed, but the Nausicaä of the encyclopedia still danced around in his head, preparing for the right stage. She reminded him of another figure, this time from an ancient Japanese story called The Lady Who Loved Insects. She has the same vibe as Nausicaä, but we'll get to her story later. In Miyazaki's head, the two characters merged into one super free-thinking bug girl. One day, Miyazaki was talking to some people from that publishing company, Tokuma Shoten, and aired out his problems with turning these ideas into a movie. They made a suggestion that would turn out to be a genius plan. They said, why not create a manga instead? Oh, and by the way, coincidentally, we have an anime and manga magazine called Animage. You could publish it there. His ideas became more concrete as he wrote the manga. The cauldron finally started to boil. It became the most popular work in the magazine Animage, and they asked him to make a movie, and boom, Nausicaä of the Valley of the Wind was born. The film covers just the first 2 volumes of the manga, but that was enough to blow up in the theaters, launching Miyazaki into the hearts of viewers and onto the mailing lists of publishers with dollar signs in their eyes. He went on to create his own studio, Studio Ghibli, and a million annoying fanboys. Now, could he have gotten famous without Nausicaä? Yeah, probably. But it was the foundation on which he built his animation career. So, what was the story of the lady who loved insects? It was a short tale from a collection of stories made in the Heian period of Japan. She was an independent girl who followed her passion for nature and ignored the criticisms of others, and she paid a price for it. Let me tell you her story. Next to the lady who loved butterflies, there lived a strange girl from a noble family who had a strange hobby. Her parents loved and cared for her dearly, but even they thought she was peculiar. She often asked why people went crazy for butterflies, but ignored the creatures from which butterflies sprung. She collected all kinds of bugs and reptiles that would make most people leap out of their kimonos and watched them all day to see their little plans and routines. Her favorite was the caterpillar. The other girls found her pets as appealing as a plate of raw vegetables, leaving her only companions a few troublemaking servant boys of low birth who delighted in finding little creatures for her. It was not proper for a lady to have male servants, but she thought that rule needed to be properly disposed of. The young lady gave her boys gifts so that they could catch bugs for her. She thought Japan suffered from a severe lack of poems and stories about these creatures, so she made the boys sing songs about them and even joined in. She hated anything unnatural. Women back then plucked all their eyebrows to draw new ones and blackened their teeth. She thought these were odd things to do and refused to do them. She even had the audacity to tuck her bangs behind her ears. Heian culture dictated that bangs were to stay in front of the ears. This won her no admirers, and people chose to keep away from the girl with the hideous white tooth smile, hairy caterpillar brows, and disgustingly swept-back bangs. The young lady didn't help her case either, because she argued with anyone who so much as glanced at her pets in a slightly unpleasant way. Her parents reminded her that she would be a very unpopular girl indeed if she kept on doing so. But she cared as much for the thoughts of others as they cared for her insects. "One must study things to understand them," she said. "Even the beautiful silk that people wear comes from ugly silkworms." And she argued that it was dumb to hate caterpillars, for one day they would become butterflies. Her parents could not argue back. Her ladies-in-waiting loved her because she gave them something to make fun of. They admitted she was clever, but was probably not right in the head. They sighed and lamented, asking why other girls' servants talked of flowers and butterflies, but they had to look after caterpillars and centipedes. They wondered what the girls who waited on the lady who loved butterflies next door were like. They compared her unshaved eyebrows to furry caterpillars and her white teeth to caterpillars with their skins peeled off. One day, after hearing all the buzz about the bug girl, a young nobleman decided to play a trick on her. He made a lifelike snake and sent it to her in a bag with a letter. "Crawling, I shall follow you at your side. As I am long without end, so is my heart forever yours." The servants screamed when they opened it. The girl was frightened too, but she stayed calm and tried to soothe it. Her father heard the commotion and stormed in with a sword, ready to make snake sashimi. But upon further investigation, meaning he picked it up, he realized that it was just a toy and told her to write a reply poem, which she did. "If our fates are bound together, we shall meet in the good paradise in a different form. It is hard to be entwined in this form of a caterpillar." Then she wrote, "See you in the Garden of Happiness." Paradise and the Garden of Happiness both meant the Buddhist paradise that a person went to if they achieved enlightenment. The poem basically said, if we're meant to be, then it ain't gonna be in this life. Maybe in a bajillion years when we reach enlightenment. The rejection was nothing special. What was unique was that she wrote in katakana. She wasn't skilled in hiragana yet. Katakana is a Japanese writing that's more straight and stiff, while hiragana is flowy. It was like writing in print instead of cursive. No one wrote poems in katakana. Somehow, a government official came across the letter and thought it quite bizarre. He was the sort of man who would stare at a dead body if he came across one to study how it decayed. He had to see the writer of the poem. So he and a friend disguised themselves as commoner women and snuck to the side of her house, peeping through a fence. They saw some boys digging through the bushes while the young lady did something strange yet again. There she was, scandalously, standing outside, talking to the boys. Women of her time did not show themselves freely outdoors like they were some sort of tree. The official thought her hair was lovely, but looked as if it hadn't seen a brush in years. She didn't seem that bad, but when he saw her intensely white smile, he had to hold down a gag. And her clothes looked like they were staging a rebellion against her head. They were pushed all messy up her head. It's too bad, he thought. If she took care of herself a bit, she would look quite pretty. Still, there was something brilliant and unique about her, if only she behaved normally. A boy saw the peeping toms and called out. A maid panicked and scolded the girl for daring to stand outside where any regular Joe Schmobunaga could see her. So the young lady picked a few caterpillars with charming personalities and dashed inside. The official, right there, used the juice of the grass to scribble a poem, a rather cute one. Ever since I saw you, hairy as the caterpillars, you have been clinging to my mind like bird lime. The maid peeked at the letter before giving it to the bug girl, and was so embarrassed that an important official saw her lady playing with bugs. The insect enthusiast got mad and argued back. If you saw things more clearly, you would realize there is nothing to be ashamed of. This world is a dream, an illusion. Who would live long enough to worry if something is good or bad? The servants were all, there she goes again, saying silly things we can't argue with. They urged her to reply, as the gentleman had been waiting at the gate for a while with frowns deep enough to plant rice in, but she thought it was pointless to respond. The servants, feeling bad, sent a reply poem on her behalf. Unlike other people, I will reveal my heart only after I have heard your name, just as I hear my caterpillars. The official pondered and wrote back, Nowhere is there a man who is worth even the tip of your caterpillar-like brow, so why need I tell my name? The men had a good chuckle before leaving. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to do some denial practice, because the story ends here. The rest of it is lost to history. So what do you think he meant by that last poem? Was it a rejection? Was he teasing and leaving room for a future meeting? Miyazaki said he had always worried for the lady who loved insects. She cared little for social norms and hung out in the mountains and fields with her beloved insects. He always wondered if she was able to find a person who loved her in that world of social claustrophobia that was the Heian period. It's hard not to root for her, even though the original author probably meant his story to be a warning that you should follow social rules. See, this girl is weird and no one likes her. Don't be like the bug girl. She paid the price for being different. She had no friends, and even the guy interested in her was scared away. But to Miyazaki and modern readers, the story hits different. It became the tale of a girl who lived by her own rules. After Nausicaä of the Valley of the Wind, Miyazaki still had not emptied his pot of ideas. Many of the concepts he brewed up for Nausicaä he used in a later film called Princess Mononoke, which is why the two films have so many similarities. That magical world of Princess Mononoke, with all its Japanese folklore references, click here if you want it all explained. Okay, we have some new patrons today. Midnight Magic. Who doesn't love some Midnight Magic? Calyptine, Invader Queen, please spare me, Alyssa, Ashley, and Borp. Thank you so much. Alright, I love you and spread the knowledge.